Hello, Ed from Pinball Mayhem here. Give an update on the last 24 hours of the bowling lane extension. Still have the back clamped. I did run a tap through those T-nuts because they were a little bit tight. I did locate all the hardware to attach the new legs. I did actually buy the bolts 5 years ago. They're 7.5 inch 3/8 16 bolts. On the front I have the still, it's clamped up. You can see I got a few clamps on there. I'm going to let it sit for another day. Then I'm going to have to take it off and run a sander, probably like a belt or an orbital with an aggressive sanding disc on it, just to kind of level it off square. And I have to drill holes. Those are the last things I need to do before I can flip that over and try to fit it. Bring your attention to this bad boy. Piece of brass piping I picked up. There's supposed to be little spots for the pins that are on the other side to slide into on each of these sides, and so on the other, the actual official lane, it's like a brass insert. I got 3 feet of it, not dirt cheap stuff, but I'm going to try to make my own inserts. It's a 1/2 inch OD, and it appears to be the right ID. I'm going to try to test it on a board first. It's about 1 inch. It needs to be 1 inch, and the ones on the game are 1.5 inches deep. Luckily, I have a 1/2 inch drill bit for it. I did some more work on the legs. I got the other 2 off, and I just did the initial sanding on all of them. They have the pickled weird finish removed, and these legs I drilled out the bottoms and installed the T-nuts. This is it's the color of my trim in my house, and I really like the color. It's gunstock, it's called. It does let the grain show, but does hide a little bit of things. I'm going to do a test on the back of one of the original legs and one of the new legs in an area where you're not going to see it if it doesn't turn out. I'm thinking about going with that color. I have a lot left over. If that doesn't work, it's a little bit too dark or the paint's picking it up, I'll try a dark, or not dark enough, I could try a darker color. Possibly try to paint it if I have to, if I can't get all the paint off those old legs. But if you notice, I got 8 legs and I need 6. 4 original, I got the 4 new. So if I can get 6 good looking legs out of that group, awesome, and I'll keep 2 on the side just in case. And then the other project I've been working on, other part of it, is the cable extension. I made this, I believe, just over 6 feet long, and I have everything lined up. I kind of did a nice combing of it, backing up some more. Here's how I cut the wires to the length I needed, and I soldered them into the Jones plug here. Then I figured out which wire I had to start with. So I started with these 2. I may be a little tight. I will have to wire wrap this, wax wrap it. I'm going to start the way they did originally around the end here. I'm going to work my way that way, doing about 1 inch, 1.25 inch lap, and go all the way down. Now, I might have to take 2 pieces of wire to do a piece that long. 2 pieces of string. And this is what I did on this side. You can see the bar is facing the cable, because the other plug is going to come in right here going the other way. The original cable on this goes right out the bottom. I tried to make this more so it'd slide into the end of the lane a little easier. We'll have to see how that goes. But that's where, there we go. That's where it originally would have plugged into. So that's, and I have everything lined up nice and straight. So when I soldered it, I went on the outside and I pulled 1 wire at a time, cut it, and I just left just a hair, not much wire. But what I'd like to show you today, you're probably wondering, how do you solder those Jones plugs? Let's set this down. And it's not really that hard. Where's that plug? All right, so we can see we're working. All right, so what I did is I did remove, you might be able to see some light through there. I removed the old wire, and the wire, what I did is the wire was up in there. I used my clamps, clamped it on there so I had some weight. Just had something to pull on, put this in here. And then what I did is I used a desoldering iron, I heated it up, and I put it on the end. Actually, one thing to do though is you always want to, this is cold, want to feed a little bit of fresh solder in just because it's going to help conduct the heat to. I'm going to put a little. I would put a little bead of fresh solder and heat the end. Don't heat the side. Don't go like that. Don't, because this has a thin coat of solder on it, and we don't want to. We don't want to actually goop this up, because what I found with the jukebox when I was doing those plugs, if I got stuff on the side, I had to go back and clean it. Now, if you don't have an iron like this, a hot iron, once again, heat the end and pull that out. And you're going to have to use whatever your favorite solder sucker is, or gravity, or pressure. You saw me kind of cheating with that to pull out. So once this pulls out, put that back in its holder, you'll see, even though it was in the plug that far, only about 3/8 of it is stripped. So I got my normal soldering iron heating up, and I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do to solder into here. Now, of course, I had this all cleaned up for that plug. Actually, I'll use this yellow wire. This is a little thicker gauge. So I'm going to strip off about 3/8. If you go a little further, that's all right. Now, that's my cut mark. So that's the back of the plug. What I'm going to do, you can pre-tin this. I don't really like to. I'm just going to start by feeding it in. And I'm going to feed it just so the end is right there. Oh, this is going to be a little bit more painful than I thought. With a longer wire, it's easier because it's going to hold itself into place. I'm just going to loop it to keep a little pressure on there. Just want the wire just about at the end. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take my iron. I'm going to put, once again, I always put a little bead of solder at the end. I'm going to just heat the end. What I'm doing is I'm going across it, and I'm also trying to hit that wire if I can. I'm not heating the side. What I'm going to do, hard to do on camera, cue backwards. But when you're watching it, you'll see a point where the solder just sucks right down. And you can actually sometimes see on the side the heat where it's melting the solder. Last thing I do while it's still warm is give a little tug, make sure you got it right, and then I'm going to fold it back the direction I want it to go. Because this is all warm, the jacket's warm. Once it cools, it's gonna kind of hold that shape. It's gonna be a little easier. I'm gonna show you what I don't want to do. I'll take some of this pink wire, strip it back. What you don't want to do is, hopefully I don't make it fall out, you don't want to sit here and start heating the side. You want to put solder in it, right? And okay, so if I put a little bead in and I feed it like that, yeah, of course I'm getting a lot of solder in it. Don't need that much heat. But I'm going to show you what I'm left with. Alright, it's a good solder joint, but we got this gob at the side, which is going to get stuck on the plug. Now I'm going to have to sit here and clean this off, either with an iron. You might accidentally do this. You may have to try actually what would work good is a wet paper towel. So you heat it up, wipe it off. That's actually a method I heard about repairing tins on jammer connectors. Haven't tried it too much, but it's a little better. I would probably want to hit that with a little bit of sandpaper too, just to make sure it's not any wider, or possibly the wet paper towel method. My next step with this cable, excuse my reach, is I'm going to be wax wrapping it. And here is the wax string that I bought. It is, I forget how much I bought. It was cheap. It was like 20 bucks for 500 yards or something like this. This is Aircraft Spruce and Specialty Company lacing tape. So I use the flat stuff. I do have another video on lacing, so if you're interested in that, look it over. It's probably going to take me about a half hour to lace this correctly. So Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, check out the other videos, and look forward for an update tomorrow.